Hello again. Well, if you don't listen to this and watch this video, you're doing what millions have done before you. And millions of those that have done that are no longer with us. You'll understand why if you take the time to listen to what I just read. A German's view on Islam worth reading. This is one of the best explanations of the Muslim terrorist situation I have ever read. His reference to the past history are accurate and clear, not long, easy to understand, and well worth the read. In your case, the listen. The author of this email is Dr. Emil Tenya, a well-known and well-respected psychiatrist. A man whose family was German aristocracy. Prior to the World War II, he owned a large number of industries and estates. When asked how many German people were true Nazis, the answer he gave could guide our attitude towards fanaticism. Quote, "Very few people were true Nazis," he said, "but many enjoyed the return of German pride, and many more were too busy to care. I was one of those who just thought the Nazis were a bunch of fools, so the majority just sat back and let it happen." Sound familiar? Then before we knew it, they owned us, and we had lost control, and the end of the world had come. My family lost everything. I ended up in a concentration camp, and the Allies destroyed my factories. We were told again and again by experts and talking heads that Islam is a religion of peace, and that the vast majority of Muslims just want to live in peace. Although this unqualified assertion may be true, it is entirely irrelevant. It is meaningless fluff meant to make us feel better and meant to somehow diminish the specter of fanatics rampaging across the globe in the name of Islam. The fact is that the fanatics rule Islam at this moment in history, and it is the fanatics who march. It is the fanatics who wage any one of 50 shooting wars worldwide. It is the fanatics who systematically slaughter Christians or tribal groups throughout Africa, and we gradually are taking over the entire continent in an Islamic wave. It is the fanatics who bomb, behead, murder, or honor kill. It is the fanatics who take over mosque after mosque. It is the fanatics who zealously spread the stoning and hanging of rape victims and homosexuals. It is the fanatics who teach their young to kill and to become suicide bombers. The hard, quantifiable fact is that the peaceful majority, the silent majority, is cowed and extraneous. Communist Russia was compromised and comprised of Russians who just wanted to live in peace. Yet the Russian communists were responsible for the murder of about 20 million people. The peaceful majority were irrelevant. China's huge population was peaceful as well. The Chinese communists managed to kill a staggering 70 million people. The average Japanese individual prior to World War II was not a warmongering sadist. Yet Japan murdered and slaughtered its way across Southeast Asia in an orgy of killing that included the systematic murder of 12 million Chinese civilians, mostly killed by sword, shovel, and bayonets. And who can forget Rwanda, which collapsed into butchery? Could it not be said that the majority of Rwandans were peace-loving? History lessons are often incredibly simple and blunt, yet for all our powers of reason, we often miss the most basic and uncomplicated of points. Peace-loving Muslims have been made irrelevant by their silence. Peace-loving Muslims will become our enemy if they don't speak up, because like my friend from Germany, they will awaken one day and find that the fanatics own them. and the end of their world will have begun. Peace-loving Germans, Japanese, Chinese, Russians, Rwandese, Serbs, Afghans, Iraqis, Palestinians, Somalis, Nigerians, Algerians, and many others have died because the peaceful majority did not speak up until it was too late. Now Islamic prayers have been introduced in Toronto and other public schools in Ontario, and yes, in Ottawa too, while the Lord's Prayer was removed due to being too offensive. The Islamic way may be peaceful for the time being in our country until the fanatics move in. This also applies right here to the United States, but it obviously has a slant towards Canada. In Australia, and indeed in many countries and around the world, many of the most commonly consumed food items have a halal emblem on them. Just look at the back of some of the popular chocolate bars and at the other food items in your local supermarket. Food on aircraft, the halal emblem, just to appease the privileged majority who are now rapidly expanding within the nation's shores. In the UK, the Muslim communities refuse to integrate, and there are now dozens of no-go zones within major cities across the country that the police dare not intrude upon. Sharia law prevails there because the Muslim community in those areas refuse to acknowledge British law. And for us who watch it all unfold, we must pay attention to the only group that counts, the fanatics who threatens our way of life. Lastly, anyone who doubts that the issue is serious and just deletes this email, or in my case this video, without sending it on is contributing to the passiveness that allows the problem to expand. How many times have you heard me say that there's no moderate Muslim? There's the silent Muslim. But when that silent Muslim is ordered by the imam to kill, he knows he has no option, because he knows that if he doesn't kill, he too will be killed. There are no moderate Muslims. And the leader of the free world, Barack Hussein Obama, you know what I think he is. You know why I think what I think he is. And how can you deny the truth? If you don't pass this one on, and if you don't take the time to read this, you're part of the problem.